What's up, Internet? We are back with N64 Insanity. Last time we did a whole bunch of Pokemon nonsense, and this time we are going all the way down to... I believe we're on Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue. Now, I was part of the demographic for Power Rangers back in the day. I don't think I ever saw Lightspeed Rescue. I think I saw the first one, and I think maybe bits of the second one. I think I saw a little bit when they went to space as well. Look, okay, all I remember is the Green Ranger is a badass and took out the Megazord on foot, and that's why he's my hero, and I would love to get a replica of his helmet. That's literally all I remember. That, and it was allegedly about a bunch of extreme teenagers that were not very extreme, and it was very much Saved by the Bell, stapled onto some awesome tokusatsu nonsense. So let's go to Titanium Quest, whatever that means. Episode 1, Virtual Room 1, I guess. I gotta admit, these helmet designs are very boring. They all look very identical. I kind of appreciate the comic book style, because there's no way they would have been able to do, like, a photorealistic style for this. So this kind of works, I guess. Is this auto-playing? Yes, it is. It's just going very slowly. I think I can skip this. I'm just not sure it would be beneficial for me to do so. There's a VR training room, something, skip. Good. Objectives, shoot. Oh, I'm the Yellow Ranger? Why can't I be the cool red one? Or the green one? Or the one played by Johnny Young Bosch? I don't know if that was Lightspeed Rescue or not. Alright, there's voices in this. That's cool. There does not appear to be any sort of camera control, though. That's concerning. Okay, so I gotta kick laser the... So kick is mapped to B, and it basically goes in the opposite of the way you're facing. That's certainly a choice someone made, but it's a peculiar one. Kind of makes me think of, like, classic Double Dragon, but that kind of made sense in the sense that there were two directions. It makes a little less sense in three-dimensional space. Alright. So we have to use our foot lasers and our hand lasers to take care of stuff backwards. Wah! There we go. Pew. Alright. I think I saw a little bit of the Power Rangers movie. It had, I think the villain's name was Ivan Ooze or something really dumb like that. I don't know. Look, okay, all I know about Power Rangers was the Green Ranger took out the Megazord on foot and he's my hero. Even though he was ostensibly a villain at the time. Oh my god, I'm sad I remember that much of it. Okay, so there's an online fire truck we can rescue. Okay, so this is basically an auto-scroller. I have no actual control over the, like, moving forward. I just have the up and down control and shoot. I wonder if this game would have been better without the voice clips, because they could have used that space for anything else. But I'm struggling to think what they could have done with that. It's fine, you're flying, that puts out the fire because oxygen is not fanned by wind or flames or anything. Ah! Water. Although we are completely destroying the car when we do that, so I feel like that's less humane than bopping it out of the area, blowing it away with our magic wind powers. But, you know, I'm not a Power Rangers expert. Actually, the only other thing I remember is when I was very, very young, I went to a preschool with someone who was really wildly obsessed with Power Rangers to the point where he'd pick fights with everyone saying he was a Power Ranger, and he would try and, like, martial arts kids in the face. And, like, he was put in, like, preschool detention every day. He was a very strange lad. But kids get inspired to do very dumb things by the smallest things, and I guess that's what being a kid is all about. Or something. Okay, we gotta do this 5 more cars, but aiming with this is actually really difficult. Because I'm kind of like... I have up and down control, but it kind of like rotates the car. more than just, you know, controlling in a sensible way. This is... Getting fine-tuned aiming on this is a little bit trickier than I would have thought it would have been. There we go. Got 3 more. Also, I was just reminded of something a little while ago. Freedom Planet 2 comes out, like, tomorrow. That's cool. Yay! I kind of dropped the ball on that one. I was excited about Freedom Planet 2. I'm not sure if I can afford it right now, but I'm going to have to play that as soon as I possibly can. Alright. How about some Megazord action? I think I'm okay with this. Let's Voltron it up. I don't remember the Megazord having a green visor on top of a black visor. Holy shit. This actually might be something interesting. Holy crap, it's first person. Okay, so A is shoot lasers or missiles. B is... I don't know what yellow nonsense is, but it turns things yellow. I think that's a shield. Kind of. Okay, there's a bit of a strafe. That's neat. This is actually kind of competent. Okay, so Z is sort of a strafe. R and L do nothing. I am completely immobile now. Okay. I guess he had an immobilization ability or something. This is very strange. Oh, we can snap it to... oh, it's not a third person. It's just a special mode. Stop to... C up is Rocket Punch. C right is... okay, that's a shield. Okay, that's... Yep. Yep, good. We've established what's C down. C down seems to be nothing. Okay, so do I have to be close to... ah, I see. I think that's a punch. It's the most ineffectual punch ever, but... oh, alright. Oh, actually, it's kind of like Gotcha Force, because this is the missile button. So I guess there's, like, contextual distance type things. That's interesting. I don't know who this guy is, but he needs a monster storm. Respect the monster storm, I guess. Typhonus. That sounds like a bad Pokemon nickname I would come up with. It's no drill, Power Rangers. Great! That means we can actually start doing tokusatsu nonsense. Okay, so we can shoot. I have no choice in who I'm getting to be. I guess I get to be the blue guy. Okay, do I have to... okay, so I gotta punch the people and the logs. Because logs mean victory? I guess? Oh, aiming in this game. Aiming in this game is magically awkward. Okay, I think I actually have to just leave them alone and go for the logs. These guys are just here to get in the way. Alright. I can dig it. What's this thing? Monster spawner, I guess. Ooh. Yay! I'm not going to say this is a great game, but I'm surprised it's not more terrible than it is. It's kind of, sort of, alright. So far. Alright, let's be the green guy now, I guess. Okay, but it's titanium. It's not that big a deal, really. You can, you know, get that stuff. You don't need it from space. I don't think titanium's all that big a deal. Okay, so rescue people, shoot the dudes.
3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so it's facing me next to these stairs, but I can't go. The other way it's facing me is into that wall. I can't go there. Okay. All the characters seem to be basically identical. That's kind of unfortunate. Although, to be fair, In games where they're not, it usually ends up being like half the characters have a ranged weapon and half the characters have a melee weapon. And usually the ranged people are just infinitely better because you can deal with the problem at a distance for basically the same amount of damage. Alright. That is a very doofy running animation. Zoop! Said the vending machine, whatever that means. Maybe that was a Power Ranger catchphrase I missed. Alright, let's go this way. Try and... Whoa! Something blue just... Are we playing Zombies Ate My Neighbors right now? Are they actually going after the civilians? Because that's actually kind of neat. Like, this game, I'm not going to say is great, but, you know, if it were a $5, I might pick it up. Because it's surprisingly, again, I have to watch what I say here, but it's surprisingly good for what I thought it was going to be. Not great, not a must-have by any means, but, you know, to fill out a collection if you could get it super cheap. I'm curious, are you actively going after these people? The weird thing is the other red ones seem to be like enemy spawns, but these guys aren't picked up. Okay, well that guy just got disinterested versus that. But I'd like to see if one of these guys actually does try and go after one of these civilians. Or like maybe we can kite one over to a civilian to get them... Oh, that's the meteor. Okay, so he'll just run around it. Alright, so it's not like they're actively trying to, like, get objectives or something, and we have to actually try and stop them. I don't know what that was, but whatever it was a loading screen that we missed. Excellent animation there. He has the Green Ranger, I guess. Sure. Typhonus will flood the city. Shouldn't he be Floodulus or something? I feel like flooding is a little outside someone who's, you know, just a tropical storm. Like, yeah, there's water involved, but it all depends how close to the ocean it is. And to be fair, that looks pretty ocean adjacent, but if we're going to name our character Typhonus, maybe do more directly typhoony related things. Okay, so this time we are not putting out water. We are shooting, I think, handcuffs. Because I guess we're a Patricia wagon. That is a reference to a game that was being very funny by the people who are very, very funny. Go to Way Forward. They need to make more games. I don't think I've ever played a Way Forward game I've disliked. And heck, I've actively bought other games because they had Way Forward references in them. Like, seriously, I would have never bought Blaster Master Zero had there not been a Shantae DLC, and it turned out to be a really great game. And it got me more and more into Blaster Master, which is one of my favorite NES games, so that's cool. Also, the Shantae DLC completely changes how you play Blaster Master Zero, and you should play both, because it is very, very, very good. I kind of appreciate that it's trying to do so many different things. Okay, so the I guess, handcuffs we're flinging at people don't go to people. Even though in the previous tutorial that tutorialized vehicles, we were actively trying to shoot at the targets with our projectiles. That's just a weird inconsistency, I guess. But what can you do? Although, bonk, I can still do that. Although that does actually take away health. I probably shouldn't do that too much, bonk. But I want to, because watching the vehicles fling themselves around is just silly. Okay, I need to remember, don't shoot the civilians. It doesn't help. And now I'm getting flashbacks to True Lies again. Oh god, we're taking too long, so we're speeding up. Or maybe we're fighting a boss? Nope, I guess that was just sort of a punishment for taking too long. Alrighty. Whoop. I'm kind of surprised they have so many voice clips in this game, honestly. You know, I was honestly, based on what the name was, I was going to say this is going to be like, just awful, awful game, don't play it. But you know what? It's not, I mean, it's not great. I wouldn't even say it's good, but it's passable. It does some interesting stuff.
3,
Be nice if you could actually pick which character you played as, and like if there was some kind of difference between the two. But to be fair, whenever they do that, it is usually a bad idea and poorly thought out. But still, you know, I'm actually kind of impressed for what it is, Power Rangers. And that's, well, to be fair, actually, Power Rangers on the Genesis was a pretty solid, like, beat-em-up / fighting game. So I can't say that there's no good Power Ranger games, because I remember the Genesis, and I think Super Nintendo one was actually pretty good as well. And if I recall, Shatterhand was ostensibly supposed to be like a Sentai Power Ranger type of thing, so that game was also quite good. So you know what? I guess I gotta just... I went into this with slightly prejudiced views on Power Rangers games, based on, you know, the many bad Power Ranger games I've actually ended up having to play, mostly through pirate carts, and watching people complain about them. But this one's actually kind of decent. And I know that's honestly not the biggest compliment I could ever give a game, but, you know, for what it is, I'm kind of impressed. That doesn't mean it's good, but, you know. Hey, I recognize that logo. That's the Kamen Rider logo. There's that one time Kamen Rider did have a crossover with Power Rangers. That was weird because they tried to bring Kamen Rider to North America. And I think that's like the only like Kamen Rider stuff we ever got in North America. I've been trying to find like classic Kamen Rider like subtitle, but it just doesn't seem to exist as far as I can tell. If anyone found like classic original Kamen Rider subtitle, you know, hook me up because I don't know where to find it. But I remember there being some weird stuff with that because the guy who played Kamen Rider also played good old Segata Sanshiro, the Sega Saturn mascot, of course. And if I recall, I heard in one episode he disguised himself as the character of Segata Sanshiro, which is weird because, of course, it's the same actor. So he's playing ostensibly himself playing a different character, which is like some like four-dimensional acting nonsense right there. You kind of gotta respect that. It's very weird and probably a terrible idea, but you know, they tried something with that. I really feel like I should be able to hop over that fence. And yet I can't. Instead we get to watch the doofy Cherry Ranger prance about in his doofy cherryness. I missed the Lime Green Ranger. He was the cool one. Well, the original one. Anyway, I think the guy who played the Green Ranger came back as the Red Ranger once or twice. And I think there was like a Red Ranger like celebration showing off all the Red Rangers through the years, which I think was English only and then got brought to Japan. I think. I remember there being some like weird nonsense with like the weird Red Ranger special or whatever. I should really look more into that, but again, I'm a guy who is very long since grown out of Power Rangers, and even when I was of the age, there wasn't a lot there for me. Because I just recognized that half of this is a bad show and the other is awesome tokusatsu nonsense, even if I didn't know the word for it, you know? It was great. But the weird English nonsense they added to it was a pace breaker, to say the least. But they tried something, and, you know, you gotta respect that they tried that. Oh, hey, it's Whirlwind Magoo over here. Alright, kicking goes backwards, so don't do that thing. Okay, that could have had a better animation for death, but what are you gonna do about that? Hey! Do I really need to rescue the Green Ranger, though? Did I really? I think he could have popped out and done something himself there. Whoosh! I can super speed that. There's weird transitions in this game, evidently. I've been playing this for 20 minutes. We've got other games to get to, but holy crap! Third-person spaceship mechanics? Okay. Huh. I think I might have to take a deeper look at this game sometime, because this is the gift that keeps on giving of a strange, kinda not awful tie-in game. Like, I wasn't expecting this. This wasn't even in the tutorial. What's the point of a tutorial if it doesn't tutorialize the things that need tutorializing? Ooh, I can go underground? Hell yeah, we're getting all descent up in here. Obviously, we're going underground. I will say that gaining or decreasing altitude is awkwardness. It does not exactly control great. But you know what? They're trying a lot of stuff. I'm impressed. It's not, like, super successful, but I don't see anything that's ridiculously offensive about it. I mean, outside of the fact it's Power Rangers, and that might already offend some people, considering that it's a very long-run series that wasn't necessarily all that good to begin with, but... Okay, I need to get to this little area right here, and I think I just crazy taxied someone into my spaceship, so that's cool. Seriously, I'm genuinely surprised as to what this game is. I'm kind of floored by it, honestly. Again, part of me went in with the lowest expectations imaginable, but I think even if I expected something kind of competent, I think this is certainly doing something very creative. Oh, I'm saving the other Rangers now. That's what we're doing. Okay. So we're being the taxi to get to the Megazord, I guess. Alright. Feel free to list issues with Power Rangers, as long as you leave the Green Dragon Ranger out of it. He's my hero. He took out the freaking Megazord on foot by himself. He's a badass. Everything else, yeah, slag on Power Rangers all you like. Maybe not the original Tokusatsu. That stuff gets a pass, because that was something that was much, much better, but I'm just... Honestly, I was going into this expecting, okay, I know a lot of really bad Power Ranger games outside of the Genesis and I think Super Nintendo games, but, like, considering I was expecting basically less than nothing, we're actually getting something kind of interesting with this, and I think I might have to review this at some point. I'm genuinely impressed and interested in what this is. Okay, that guy was in a blind corner. I've been playing this for almost 25 minutes. I have to move on. I should have moved on 15 minutes ago, and yet I'm having fun with this. Look, just spare me on the original Green Ranger. That's the only one I care about. Every other one can absolutely just call him out on it. Also, I'm pretty sure the Megazord had more than 3 colors. Oh man, I'm not gonna lie, I kinda wanna play the Genesis Power Ranger game now. Also, that's a damn solid transparency effect on this guy. Okay, the punching animation is pretty crap, though. The awkward Rock'em Sock'em Robots nonsense of Great Battle 4 on the Super Nintendo was better animated than this. But, I mean, hell, Last Legion was animated better than this. Not to say that it was badly animated or anything, but... yeah! I'm honestly kind of surprised about this one. And that was the story of Deep Fear. There was a meteor, it crashed into an ocean. Then ocean zombies. Go play it on your local Sega Saturn. Didn't you say it just crashed in the city? How can this be a part of one that crashed in the ocean forever ago? Also, Diabolico. That's not the best name. Alright, well, I should move on, because if I don't, I'm going to sit here and play the entire game in one sitting. And I'm very tempted to, just to see how insane that gets. But that was surprisingly pretty okay. Yeah, I heard about the Blue Ranger homophobia nonsense. That's not cool, for sure. Oh god, the Powerpuff Girls game. I've heard this is awful. Yeah, I have heard that the Blue Ranger got treated like shit. Which is sad, because he stuck around for, like, I think 3 seasons or something like that. Even though he got replaced by a kid in a movie even though he became a full-grown adult when he transformed. That was a very weird concept. And then, of course, there's like 3 characters that got moved out to like a... Obviously, we're going to be Buttercup because she's the best Powerpuff Girl. They moved to like a peace conference, and that was just because the actors wanted like to become a union and actually get treated better. This kind of reminds me a little bit of a Cartoon Network Flash game that was just Powerpuff Girls pillow fights. I played the shit out of that back in the day. I'm gonna have to load that up on Flashpoint. Except that was a good game, and this is exactly what it looks like. Yeah, they absolutely were underpaid, and that guy absolutely didn't have to stick out with all that homophobia nonsense he dealt with. Like, he didn't need to deal with that. The fact that he did, and he absolutely stuck it out like he did, that just shows he's a very classy guy. Amongst a lot of really not classy people. This is really crap. I've heard this game is about as bad as Superman. I don't think it's that bad, but it's definitely not good. But yeah, those actors were underpaid as all hell. They really should have unionized them. That was just a whole thing. Like, if you actually go up and look at, like, all the background nonsense that went with, like, the production of, I was about to say Powerpuff Girls, but, with Power Rangers, you know, that's a whole mess. This feels like it's desperately trying to be Power Stone, or, like, Rakugaki's Showtime, and it's just not at all. Because those games are fun. You know, thinking about the N64 never really got a Power Stone kind of game. Everything else around that time kind of did, though, in some form or another. The fact that he stuck it out purely for the fans, in spite of all the, you know, hate and malice he had to deal with on a day-to-day basis, that is some incredible amount of professionalism and class on good old Blue Ranger's part. Respect that. Okay, seriously. Why do you have priority over me? This game is so not good. Shrek Super Slime. I think I've got like 3 copies of that, and I've never played any of them because I hate Shrek with a passion. I know Shrek is a meme. I know people like it. I don't understand why. But I've, for some reason, got like 4 or 5 Shrek games that I've just have no interest in ever playing, but I own them. In fact, I think like 3 of them are the same game, just on different systems. I mean, if I want to extend the things I dislike that people seem to like, I don't get memes or enjoy them in any way, shape, or form. I don't get it. It's like, oh, this is referencing a thing that everyone already knows, and apparently it's a joke, but it's not funny, and everyone already recognizes it, so where's the punchline? I don't know, I find memes to be a waste of space, myself. And I know that probably makes me wildly unpopular. I don't understand the appeal of memes. I've never done so, but maybe I'm just old. All-Star. You know, the funny thing is, it was in movies before Shrek 2. It was in Digimon the movie. I know. I watched it today. Because I was on a binge of original Digimon. That was a bad movie, too. Because that wasn't even a movie. That was 3 short films that were, like, special releases in Japan. That they tried to staple together for Western releases. And I think only 1/3 of those movies was actually something that could have maybe been a movie. And even then, looking at it, most of the movie was watching 2 kids sit at a computer screen. So, that's debatable. See, the thing is, I didn't get to watch the Digimon movie when I was a kid. I got to watch the Angela Anaconda tie-in for that, as well as the version of that tie-in that had all Digimon references removed, which was peculiar to say the least, because you could still clearly see that they were referencing Digimon, even though they weren't allowed to say Digimon at any point. But I watched that well after Digimon was around. Oh, do I gotta play as Blossom now? She's the worst one. I just learned that there was a Powerpuff Girls movie today. It apparently was not very good. I don't think I ever knew that was a thing. I knew there was a weird Japanese anime based on Powerpuff Girls for some reason. I knew they had like a one-off that had the most bizarre art style ever. I knew that there was a reboot that came out like 2 years ago that had apparently 3 seasons in spite of it being about nothing. Including the Powerpuff Girls. It wasn't even about that. See, that's the thing. Cartoon Network aspired to have like their own sort of like cinematic universe like 20 years before anyone else thought to do it. And it's like, yeah, but they got like 3 movies out of it. One of them ended up being a TV movie because they didn't want to, you know, pay for theaters or the budget for them. One of them was actually pretty good. That was Zed, Ed, and Eddie. And then Powerpuff Girls, which apparently was not very good. Although, like, the weird thing was, again, like, Powerpuff Girls, I think a lot of the fan base were boys that were too afraid to admit they liked something called Powerpuff Girls. And I liked Powerpuff Girls back in the day. And to be fair, I was probably too old to really enjoy it, but I loved the shit out of it. It was violent, and it had really solid writing. And an all-star cast of actors. But I think, like, a lot of people never went to the movie because they didn't want to, you know, go and just openly admit that they were guys who like Powerpuff Girls because that's something for girls or something. And then, ironically, I heard that the creators wanted to make it more action-focused for the boys, too. And it's like, well, I guess no one's winning out of this. I absolutely admitted I watched Powerpuff Girls back in the day. Hell, before that, I watched Sailor Moon. Granted, I watched Sailor Moon mostly because there was nothing else on TV, but I watched Escaflowne, and that was a shoujo thing. I watched Card Captors. You know, I don't mind watching shoujo nonsense, provided it's something that's interesting to watch. Do I have any sort of powers tied to anything? I don't think I do. I'm pressing... Oh, hey, I can jump. Yeah, I can flee with my tail between my legs. Awesome. I don't think there's anything else in this game to play. To be fair, Buttercup was the best Powerpuff Girl. She was just excellent in everything. I really liked the episode where they all tried to get their own, like, unique superhero identities, and she got, like, super hardcore and became, like, a knockoff Batman. I remember this because the original Cartoon Network website had, like, this thing where you got to make your own web page using stickers, and I wanted that sticker so bad, and I never got it. That was so sad. That's the sad thing. Like, if I recall, like, Cartoon Network now isn't even about, like, anything. It's kind of like Candy Stand, which used to be about awesome Flash games that were ostensibly to promote, like, lifesavers and stuff, and now it's, like, a betting website that's about nothing. It's like, well, the only thing about this website that's good now is preserved on Flashpoint, but it's not what this website is anymore. Yeah, she was knockoff Spawn. I think her name was Mange, which is a really, really awkward name to name yourself. But yeah, I wanted the sticker for my website on that, and I never got it, and it was so sad. That was a hard to find one, too, because it was animated and had voice clips. Man, that was such a neat idea. Like, the idea that you were going to give kids access to basically the ability to make their own website using only visual data and your own, like, you know, IPs. It was such a cool idea. And there was, like, lots of crossovers. If I remember correctly, there was, like, Card Captor ones and like, Digimon ones and Yu-Gi-Oh ones. There was a lot of that stuff. You know, and it was cool they did that. It's a shame that's not around anymore. Also, your face isn't moving at all relative to your body. That's weird. This is a very, very terrible game. I'm having more fun reminiscing about Flash games featuring the Powerpuff Girls than this. And, like, the websites with stickers I wanted to have the Powerpuff Girls on because I liked the show so much. But this game is, mooey crap. I think we're done. Let's move on to another game. Hopefully, the next one is going to be slightly better. Alright. So, let's go down to the next game, which is Puzzle Bobble! Oh god, I'm bad at Puzzle Bobble. But I do like Puzzle Bobble. Well, like is a strong word. Well, this is interesting. Okay, so I'm on a Japanese page telling me to delete my data because there's not enough, even though I've got Bust-A-Move 2 on here. And Buck Bumble for some reason. Oh god, why do I have Buck Bumble data on here? I don't need save data, I need Puzzle Bobble. I don't want to delete any. Actually, you know what? Yeah, let's get rid of Buck Bumble, sure. Wait. Can I just play the game, please? It's true. The best part about Buck Bumble is the title song that will be stuck in your head forever, even though it's an absolutely crap game. And I know that because I played some of it yesterday. For reasons. I don't know why. Actually, Buck Bumble on this cartridge is particularly weird because it will not read directly write inputs. And I've had a couple games that are like that. And it's not a controller thing. Get rid of Carmageddon. Why do I have Carmageddon on here? What is wrong with me? Alright. Lots of Blast Core. Got Bust-A-Move 2, which is probably the same thing. Seriously, are you just... Oh, there we go. Puzzle Bobble 64. I think we've already actually played this because I'm pretty sure this is Bust-A-Move 99, but... Yep, we played this already because I remember this opening. I rented this game once, and that opening was all I remembered about it. Alright, so I'm going to tweak the audio slightly. We've already played this game, but I'll play more because it's Puzzle Bobble. And you can watch me suck a Puzzle Bobble for a little bit. Who we're going to play as? We'll play this guy. He looks like he's got style points. Or he's a pretty boy, one of those two things. Although those two things do go hand in hand, usually. Puzzle Bobble 3! We played this before, except it removed most of the, personality because Bust-A-Move did that for some reason. That was the weird thing if you ever played the Taito Legends 2 compilation. Like, the Japanese version had Puzzle Bobble, the English version had Bust-A-Move, and it was the same game, except Bust-A-Move removed all the Taito characters from it. Which makes me wonder why you'd ever bother. Although I will say, the only one of these games I ever really objectively liked, and it wasn't really even kind of like this, but Puchi Karat. That's not quite Magical Drop. Magical Drop involves a lot more direct control, whereas in this you have to work the angles. But it's not incredibly dissimilar. I'd say it's a less breakouty, less interesting Puchi Karat. Although, to be fair, I've never really been all that big into... Magical Drop. I should give Magical Drop another try at some point. But, I tend to equate these things similar to, like, falling block puzzle games, and I'm just bad at them. The only one of these kind of games I really like, and by extension, the only breakout style game I really like is Puchi Karat. That game is awesome. Which is really a shame that we never got it in English. Well, in English, in North America. Oh, we're going to do a Catch Crane game. I feel like there could be something around this idea. I mean, this was basically what Game Tengoku really was. It was running through an arcade and all the various games, but in the form of a shmup referencing all the different genres and stuff. It was kind of like this, but the idea of, like, going through classic Taito properties as like, some kind of amalgamation through something, maybe not a puzzle game per se, but like maybe something a little bit more actiony. There's a lot of merit to that. Plus it'd be a great like anniversary type of thing just to celebrate your history. I've already screwed this up real bad. I don't need that, I need that. There we go. Okay, that can go there. Green goes there. Purple goes there. Yellow goes out of nowhere. Purple goes there. Drop purple there. Drop orange there. Blue. Green. I don't know where I'm going. Yeah, I just lost. I can enjoy puzzle games. I don't like the ones that involve, like, just having to react like this. Like, falling block stuff like Tetris, I just find way too stressful. I mean, hell, I played a lot of Tetris Attack yesterday just to prove how stressful I find that stuff. I can't get very far in any of them. But I still enjoy them. I'm not good at them, you know? And I think part of enjoying a game is, you know, being able to learn it and get better at it and ultimately be good at it eventually, but some genres just don't gel with me, and, like, puzzle games are definitely one of them. RPGs, I love RPGs. Fighting games are like that too, but that's mostly just because my hands don't work properly. Yeah. Like, Puyo Puyo. I don't think I've ever beaten level 2 in Puyo Puyo, but granted, Puyo Puyo is always cranked way too difficult, no matter how you play it. But, like, I'm so bad at all of those games. I don't mind trying them, and I don't mind trying to get better at them, but I can't play them to save my life, no matter how much I try and, like, put in time to get better. Kind of reminds me of, like, Twin Bee. I never got, like, the power-up system in Twin Bee, because I always ended up missing the power-ups. So, when I was in college for the second time, I got my 3DS, I loaded up the original Twin Bee, and every day, during my 2-hour transit, I would play Twin Bee, because I wanted to get better. I played that game for a year straight, every single day, and I never got better at Twin Bee. I think I managed to beat the first level, but I never figured out how to consistently get power-ups in that game. Which is why the Super Nintendo Twin Bee that actually gives you, like, time between shots, so that, like, you can discern whether or not you've got a power-up or not. That is actually a really good game for that. I don't know what happened, but I'll take it. Well, the problem with me for fighting games is I just can't pull off any of the special moves or anything. Like, I've got really bad hand coordination. I just don't have the muscle control in my hands. So, even basic quarter circles are very hard for me to pull off, and I can't do them with any degree of consistency. So most fighting games, I've got punch, I've got kick, and if I'm lucky, I've got jump, versus an opponent that has all the abilities. So for the longest time, I thought I'm bad at fighting games. I hate fighting games, and I basically, from 1996, the last fighting game I played was Virtua Fighter 2 on my Saturn, up until, I believe 2012 with BlazBlue Continuum Shift. I just didn't play fighting games. And what made me start BlazBlue Continuum Shift was, first of all, the badass metal soundtrack, but also the fact that it had a mode where if you turned it on, you could hold down buttons to perform specials. And when I actually had a full suite of moves like my opponent, I actually really enjoyed fighting games. The problem is a lot of those fighting games just don't give you that kind of option, and accessibility like that is paramount to me actually enjoying the experience. Like, I played Guilty Gear this year, and I liked the game, aside from the fact that my character of choice was relegated to DLC, but I can't do any of the special moves in that game. You know? And I remember, like, the previous one, which was, I think, XX Accent Core? Something like that. I have it on the PS4. That had a mode where you could just button mash and do combos and stuff, and that at least made me feel good about myself, but, you know, the new one, it's absolutely dedicated to you need to be able to pull off these things, and you need to be able to do it consistently, or you are screwed. And, you know, that made it very hard for me to play it. Until I got my character of choice, which actually had very simple control schemes, which, you know, I still had trouble with, but it was a lot easier on my hands, so I could at least do it every now and then. But, like, I just think, you know, accessibility options like that, I'm sure for the purists at EVO hate it, but it means people can actually enjoy your goddamn game, so just add them. Yeah, for me, it's entirely the controls. I love the soundtrack, I love the characters, I quite love everything aesthetically about Guilty Gear, but Especially the new one. The controls are just way too rough on my hands. I can't do anything consistently. Except with my girl Baiken, who has slightly easier to do abilities. Like, whenever you see one of those, like, Z pattern moves, I don't think in the history of my life I've ever been able to pull off one of those. But I can't even do, like, quarter circles with any degree of consistency. Alright, on to Quake 64. How's that different from Quake II exactly? I guess we'll find out. I'm not super familiar with Quake. I'm not going to lie. I'm more familiar with Doom. I don't care to erase any of my stuff, thank you. I think I saw someone play the shareware version of this at one point for about 2 minutes. But this is also an N64 version, so I have no idea how well this is going to play. Alright. So how do we move in this game exactly? I'm going to tweak the audio again. Okay, so forward and back. We turn using our directional keys, or our stick. What's strafe? It's not that. It's not that. Oh, okay. Okay, strafe is relegated to the C buttons. Okay. Oh, there's a recenter button. That's useful. Okay, you're dead. Yay for me. Got 5 shells. Okay, I know there's a jump button, because this is the game that invented bunny hopping. Or it was the sequel to this, I can't remember. But I can jump across. Great game, you want to tell me what button that is? You're freaking joking. Okay. Jump is down on the D-pad. So, like, you can strafe use... Oh, it's down on C2. Okay, that's still awkward as hell. But that's... At least I don't have to use the D-pad and the C buttons and the stick all at once. Also, my character is much smaller than I thought if I can fit in here. Got that. Okay. I will say this control's really slippery. But it might be because I'm using turn more than strafe. I feel like if strafe was on the control stick, it would probably work a little better. How do I interact? What's the interact button? That's not it. It isn't that. Oh, good. It's L. Have I ever mentioned that, like, the N64 controller isn't really made for, well, anything, but especially first-person shooters? Like, I'm actually using a very specialized custom N64 controller that's actually designed to be usable, but this is still unpleasant. Also, shout out to the Brawler controller. It is genuinely, like, the best N64 controller you'll ever find. It's tad pricey, but man, is it a good controller. Okay, can't jump up there. Can't seem to interact with that thing. Can I shoot it? Is that an explosive thing? Yes, it is. Okay. I mean, to be fair, people might like GoldenEye. I hate GoldenEye. I think there was one good shooter on the N64. It was Doom. Doom was the one good shooter on the N64. But, yeah. The N64 controller was not made for FPSs. It wasn't made for anything, I would argue, unless you're an octopus, but... But, it certainly wasn't made for FPSs. Alright, that worked out well. Alright, I have to use L to interact. That's not a great control scheme. That reminds me of Daikatana, which had, like, to duck, it was, like, L and, like, C down or something like that. It was dumb. I mean, it was also Daikatana. It had a lot of issues up to and including being Daikatana, but it had a really messed up control scheme that didn't explain itself. Mischief Makers was a great game. I will admit, that is peak N64 right there. Even though the day of is a stupidly designed level, and I had a lot of trouble with it, and I've only beaten it like twice in my life. And I've never gotten all the gold gems. Friggin' love Mischief Makers, though. Ooh, Biosuit? That means I can go over here, I guess. Is there any reason for me to go over here? Okay. Okay. I found a secret area. Cool. Well, the problem for me was I could not play the day of. And the problem with the day of is that's a series of like mini games, most of which are designed around button mashing, and I can't button mash to save my life. Again, I got muscle issues with my hands, so that was particularly bad. So I'd play Mischief Makers till about, 60% of the way through, and I'd just have to stop because it would be impossible for me to continue. And that was sad, because I really like Mischief Makers. I mean, it's treasure. I don't think they've ever made anything bad. Or at least if they have, I can't think of it offhand. Alright. Oh, you couldn't find the gem for the day of? I do actually know where that is. If I recall correctly, you have to... It has something to do with... I think you have to, like, do one of the marathon super fast. Or something like that. I can't quite remember. It was either something with the marathons or the ball throwing game. But yeah, it just sucked because I fell in love with Mischief Makers, and it's like it's so sad that there's clearly a game I love and I want to play, but again they've got like a level that just doesn't have accessibility, which is why accessibility is so damn important. Like, again, going back to fighting games, I know all the Evo purists and whatever are gonna, bitch and moan about, oh, no, you're making it too easy, it's not competitive, but, how is letting more people actually enjoy a thing worse? I don't get it. If anything, it breathes life into what you do, because that means you've got more competition. I don't know, I've never understood esports. I've never understood real sports. I consider both equally useless. But we live in a world where both are, for some reason, considered a big deal by people and somehow gives lots of people celebrity for reasons I don't understand. It's simple. Stop ignoring accessibility. It's important to do that, because accessibility just means more people get to enjoy the thing. And if you're being all competitive and shit about it, that just means you've got more competition. That means you have to step your own game up. If anything, that means you should enjoy it more. But I don't know. Esports are dumb and pointless, but so are real sports. But people consider that a big deal too. I don't know, maybe I'm just a weirdo. Oh. I mean, I'm not capable of doing either, so what do I know? Whoop. Well, that's the thing, too, I think if you're not finding, like, the competition fun, I wouldn't do it, Do what you enjoy, and if you don't enjoy it, don't do it. I see people who dedicate their entire life to, like, one game or one thing that they ostensibly like, and yet, at the same time, all I hear is that they hate the thing. It's like, well, then why are you doing it? I hear that from speedrunners all the time. It's like, I dedicate my life to this one thing and I hate it. It's like, then don't do it. Do something else. I mean, I at least have slightly more respect for speedrunners than, like, esports people, at least in that sort of genre. Like, I have a lot of respect for speedrunners, but, like, not as a celebrity thing. But I appreciate that they at least try to understand and analyze how a game works on a very rudimentary level to play it better and more interesting. And that's a big deal to me. You know, I think it's fascinating to see the in-depth workings of a game and different strategies that can ultimately make or break a game. Like, I find a lot of value in good old speed running, which is why I've been watching speedruns since Quake Done Quick back in like 2000. Up until someone did a Metroid Prime run, and then it suddenly became about more things than just Quake. Yep. If you dedicate yourself to one thing, no matter how much you like it, you'll probably end up hating it. And the thing is, because that's all you're known for, you kind of have to stick with what you hate, or else you kind of lose everything you built. I guess that's part of the reason why I don't necessarily just devote myself to a single game myself, because I could do that. I can see numerous games that I don't mind that are like super popular, and I could dedicate that, and I'd probably build a better fandom than, you know, or at least a bigger fandom than what I've currently got, but at the same time, why would I do that? I'd end up hating one thing in something that I really love. Whereas conversely, I can play lots of things that I choose to play because I want to, and I feel like that's going to be a lot more authentic, plus I'm going to enjoy my life. You know, and enjoying my time on this world is one of the things that, you know, keeps me alive. I don't know. I just find people who dedicate themselves to one thing that they hate but still stick with for the sake of doing it to be very peculiar. It doesn't make sense to me. That's a big thing. Oh, no, it's a guy that's just... Well, I'm dead. So I guess that's Quake 1. I guess Quake 2 will actually be Quake 2 then. Oops, that's GoldenEye. We've already played GoldenEye. And I bitched and moaned about how I hate GoldenEye. And how I'm like the pariah of the world because of it. Alright. People are just afraid that I'm dropping so much truth. Alright, on to the 5th game, Quake 2. Oh god. I want to do 2 episodes tonight, and that means we're going to have to quest. Oh, I don't want to do quests. Alright, Quake 2. I know this game even less well. I don't care to insert a controller rumbler pack. Thank you. This kind of reminds me of the title screen to Doom 64, where it was a bunch of people like running around shooting at each other. That was a cool title screen. That's a really nice looking title screen. We'll do... Yeah, screw it, easy. I don't want to challenge. It's currently 5 a.m. Do not use. Quake was a weird thing, too, because, like, every other game had continuity between it. Okay, that was a loud start. Okay, so this game controls completely different. The directional stick is just look everywhere. Okay, so I think we're going with sort of Turok controls here. Again, not a system that's really made... Oh god, jump is R. Okay. So shooting is L2. Also, there's some nice particle effects and some lighting. This game was actually really advanced for its time. I know it doesn't look like much now, but it was a big deal. And it really showed up Daikatana, which I think was supposed to be released before the first Quake, and ended up coming out after Quake 2, and looked really, really depressing comparatively. Okay. Oh, I do not like the controls in this game. This is not what the N64 was made for. Unfortunately, there aren't a lot of games where you get to simulate being an octopus, so unfortunately, there aren't a lot of things the N64 controller was made for, but, you know, this is probably extra not it. Oh, how do I interact? Just smush my face into it, I guess. Alright, fine. Huh. Alright. Oh, can I jump on that? Oh. No, I can't. Because hitboxes. Okay, so just walk into buttons and they activate. Works for me. Alright. I will say that the controls are a bit touchy. I feel like the look controls could be a lot less sensitive, and it would probably be better for it. Oh, come on. Okay, we got the adrenaline, whatever that actually does. I'm guessing it's not damage reduction, but I don't know. Whoa! This is not what this controller was made for. Okay, is that gonna kill me if I go into it? No, that's just water, I guess. Alright. Alright. Kind of surprised at how relatively smooth the frame rate is. For, you know, what this game is, anyway. How is Doom Eternal? It looks good, but I played the first Doom and I didn't care much for it. I got stuck in the big dome room where they asked you to platform and it was all vertical and I hated it because I fell so many times. The funny thing is, I think Doom was probably like the id Bethesda shooter I would have probably liked the most. But the one that really resonated with me was the first Wolfenstein game. Although the second one just kind of felt like it bled together with it and was just less good. But I think they all kind of bleed together if you play them back to back. Actually, the one I found that really sucked was Prey. But I also don't think I've ever played a game by Arcane I actually liked. Although, in their defense, I've never played Arx Fatalis. That's one I'd like to play. Actually, that might be on my Poop Game of the Year list, is Deathloop. Okay. You know, I just praised you for having a nice frame rate, and then you get all inconsistent and shitty. Still, for the N64, that's not bad. What's the thing? I don't think I really minded the platforming. It just felt like you weren't, at least up to the point I got, given tools to really enjoy the platforming. It was just, here's a giant vertical area. Get through it or die. And I disliked that. In fact, I remember expressly the best part about the original, the 2016 Doom game was that there was original Doom levels in it. And that was the part I liked about that game. And I've tried to play that game a couple times. And I'm kind of sad I dislike it, because like I said, I think it was probably the one that would have really resonated the most with me for how arcadey it was. Okay, do I have those? I don't think I do. Okay. I can't smush my face into that and get anywhere. Oh, you have a double jump and air dash. That might actually make the platforming, you know, far better. Like, I think you got, like, a slight double jump in the first one, but it didn't feel significant. I think you get a grappling hook in Eternal, too, which is kind of interesting. Like, part of me really wants to try Eternal, but part of me feels like I'm gonna end up getting, like, Doom 2016 again. I don't want to waste my money on that. I don't have enough of that to actually be just spending on games I'm going to ultimately not spend a lot of time with. That's actually pretty good if there's a huge margin for error for platforming. Not gonna lie, it does sound better than the previous one. Okay, we got the explosive charges. So we gotta destroy the terminal with these things. How do I get there from here? Oh, excuse me, good sir. But you're dead now. Hey. Not cool. Not cool. Got some stim packs. Oh, I recognize this. Okay, cool. Cool. I gotta say, if this didn't control like ass, this would actually be kind of good. Like, I still think I prefer Doom, but yeah, Quake 2 is not bad. Oh, let's not get too close to that. I'm guessing it's this way. Alright. Yeah, no, I definitely would have to hold that with a grain of salt, and if I'd probably have to see it on like super sale or something like that, like $5 or something, but it does sound like the game you're playing is better than the Doom game I played back when. And that's good. I've heard good things about it. It looks good. Am I not allowed to go here because you're alive? Because suddenly you're making that a problem for yourself. Okay. How do I close the door? Jump, jump, shoot. There doesn't seem to be like an interact feature. Okay. Door. Feeling okay? I guess not. Okay. Let's try going back. Let's backtrack to where we were before when we opened that door. Which would be over here. Let's see if we find anything useful. Okay, so there's a button here. That button is clearly pointing to a window. That would be over there, which means our eyes are supposed to logically be led there, which is over at that place. $15 isn't bad. $15 isn't bad, but that's about a month of what I get on my Patreon, so I probably shouldn't spend that on that. Okay, door. Let's talk about why you're not moving. Clearly, I'm meant to go here. Okay. I can't interact with the roof. Doesn't seem to be anything interactable on the floor. And of course, depending on where you're looking, if you're looking physically, you know, I would have to pay probably like an extra $40 to ship, because for some reason shipping to Canada is stupid now. And then like the difference in the dollar, and oh god, everything is so bloody expensive now for no reason. Is that cheese? Oh, it's bullets. Bullets is not cheese. Unless they're cheese bullets. In which case, they are absolutely that thing. Oh, you were looking on Steam. Okay, cool. I'd be a little wary to play a Steam copy of a game like that, just because my computer's pretty good, but I know it's had memory issues with stuff like Forza Horizon 5. I've had to play that on my Android handheld. Which, I just want to acknowledge how good it is that we can play stuff like Forza Horizon 5 on an Android device and basically play it perfectly. That's just amazing to me. Okay, that's an explosive device. That's the thing you use for rocket jumping, I know that. Or grenade jumping, rather. Because they're clearly grenades and not rockets. But I'm a little bit worried about like trying to get like high-end Steam games or whatever. Just because my PC might not be able to run them all that great. Just because I noticed I had some weird memory errors for Forza. I don't know. I don't PC game much. I really should get better about that, but I've spent so much time not doing that it's weird for me. I can't figure out how to get this thing to work. I'm jumping on you, you smelly elevator. Elevate. Okay, well, let's say that was it for that and get to a second episode tonight because we gotta spend some time playing Quest 64 and I don't want to do that, but we're gonna have to. Anyway, based on these past 5 games, would I recommend this? Well, Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue was, for a game that I was expecting to be like one of the worst games on the system, it's actually kind of surprising. I'm not sure I'd say it was good, but it did a bunch of weird experimentation nonsense, and it was entertaining. And if I found this game for $5 or something, I could see myself paying that for the game. Powerpuff Girls is terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Puzzle Bobble 64 we actually already played. Quake 64 wasn't too bad, and Quake II was also quite good. The problem with these 2 games being that you're playing it on the N64. Seriously, if you could get any other controller, any other system to run this, except maybe the Sega Saturn, which I think did get Quake, it would probably be a better version of this. But, I prefer Doom. But I could see myself actually trying to play Quake and Quake 2 at some point. But, I think out of all of them, Power Rangers is a surprising one. And out of these past 5, I would, because the only one that's ostensibly bad is Powerpuff Girls. Power Rangers isn't great, but it's intrigued me enough that I actually want to play more of it just to see where it goes and maybe make a video on it. And, the others are okay. Maybe not the versions you should play of them, but overall pretty good. Anyway, if you're watching on YouTube, that will be it for this week. If you're on Twitch, we will be here for another probably at least hour and a half because we're going to play Quest 64 to the Lord. But I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, subscribe to my show, check out my Twitch so you can watch me do this stuff live, and check out the Patreon so you can support me so that I can afford more awesome multi-carts and games and stuff, because this is ostensibly my job, and I would like to get paid for it at some point and be able to pay my bills. That would be pretty good, too. But anyway, I will see you next time. Peace out, Internet.